Okay, so picture this. It's the beginning of the week. You're sitting down to brainstorm video ideas, and you're looking over the list of all of the old video topics and titles you've come up with, and nothing really pops out to you. And then you start thinking a little bit about your week and your obligations and when you're going to sit down to write, when you're going to sit down to film, and then potentially all the hours you're going to spend editing your video. And all of a sudden, you start to slink down in your chair a little bit, and you can literally feel the motivation leaving your body. So, show of hands if that's ever been you as you get started on your week. It's definitely been me. And so I thought I would talk to you guys today about something that's been on my mind, a question, if you will, that's been burning a hole in my brain in the best possible way over the last few weeks that has really helped with really two unlocks for me to help me simplify how I approach content creation. And so if you're in this situation where you're new, you're having a hard time prioritizing video topics, or maybe you're overthinking or over architecting video topics, or you're just dreading the entire process, then I think this question is really going to help you out. So here's the question. It is, who can I help this week and what problem can I solve? So who can I help this week and what problem can I solve? Right? And it's a very simple, basic two-part question, if you will, but it carries with it two things that I think will make everyone's lives so much easier when it comes to our focus with our YouTube channels. So here's the first unlock. It moves you from this sort of self-conscious version of ourselves to a more service-oriented version of ourselves. So let me explain what I mean by that. I think within our minds, oftentimes subconscious, we have a battle that's being waged, right? There's two versions of ourselves. We've got this narcissistic, egotistical, loud, boisterous, inward-looking version, the one that worries about fear and judgment. It's the one that worries about other people's opinions. It hyper analyzes how we sound and how we look. And it forces us to spend too much time worrying about small details that most people don't ever care about. And then there's the second version. And this is the more passive, more quiet version of ourselves. And this is the one that actually thinks more outwardly. It worries about our neighbor. It worries about our parents. It compels us to send a text message to a friend that we haven't talked to in a while, and otherwise makes us interested in other people's lives and curious on how we can be helpful. And so these two versions of ourselves are often battling one another in our minds for, how we show up on camera or how we approach our YouTube channel. And the egotistical, narcissistic version is the one that's constantly asking, how can I get more views? How can I get more subscribers? How can I appease the algorithm, right? Because we want to grow our channels. The other version of ourselves is always asking, how can I help somebody? How can I think about my viewer's problem and their pain point? And how can I actually come on camera and help them with that issue? And so let me ask you this question. In your mind, who wins that battle? Think about that for a second. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I think sometimes the loud, inward thinking version wins that battle, maybe more often than not. For me, I think I spend a lot of time throughout the week trying to think about how to grow the views and the subscribers. And I think if I were to replace that amount of time with the second version and really spend more time with that question, who can I help this week and what problem can I solve? It would strengthen that second version and give them a much better shot of showing up on camera. And there's so much more value for ourselves, for our viewers, when that second version shows up on camera. So hear me out on this. When we pull forward that second version, the one that's focused on our viewer, not focused on ourselves, think about how much more calm and relaxed you get to be on camera, how much more of your real personality gets to come out. And that is so important, because do you think your audience connects with the rigid, stiff, self-conscious, overly scripted, overly edited version of yourself? Or do you think they connect more with the cool, casual, hey, my name's Ty, here's what I'm all about, here's how I'm going to try and help you today version of yourself, right? I know it's a weird thing to think about, but we can show up in a variety of ways on camera. And I think those two ways are in complete opposition to one another. And I think they either attract or repel viewers based on how they vibe with us. So if the goal is to attract like-minded people, build a community, grow your channel, try to gain some communion with others and try to be really helpful, then I really think we need to nourish and strengthen that second version of ourselves. And I think the way we do that is we spend less time thinking about the algorithm, thinking about our views, thinking about all of the hacks or tricks to hyper optimize our channels. And we instead spend more time with the question of who can we help this week and what problem can we solve? So that's the first unlock, is it relieves all of this pressure to show up a certain way. And the second unlock is it can act as a bit of a creative reset. So as I mentioned, if you're feeling stuck with coming up with a good idea for the week, if you're dreading having to put in all this work for editing for the week, use what I'm doing right now as an example. So let me show you. This is my mic, and I'm talking to my iPhone. This is my pen where I wrote down these notes. This is all I prepared for this video. So this didn't take me a long time to write, although I will be honest, this is my third or fourth attempt at filming this. But I want to get it right, or at least as right as I can make it. But I show you that because I want to encourage you to think about low effort and low friction content creation. Now, that doesn't mean low impact, because you can have high impact with low production value, right? So sitting in front of the camera and just talking and moving through a series of points that you want to make because you think it's going to help somebody, and doing it in a compelling and passionate way can have a ton of impact if you do it right. And honestly, I don't know if I'm doing it right, so you guys tell me in the comments. But as long as you are leaning in with an attempt to help someone move past a problem that they're having, you don't have to do a lot of editing, right? So all of that dread gets to go away. And guess what? That also creates this huge sense of relief that you get to just show up on camera and you get to just have a conversation and you get to try and be a source of inspiration for somebody, right? So the other way I think about this too is when you look at someone's channel, videos like this are vastly different from videos like the one I previously did about how to find a YouTube transcript. And so I think there's definitely room at the beginning of the week, if you're struggling for your idea, to lean into beginner-friendly content. There's way more beginners on YouTube than there are intermediate and advanced people. And if you yourself are not an expert, then you will be much more comfortable and confident speaking at a beginner level for a beginner audience. So imagine at the beginning of the week, you ask this question: who can I help this week and what problem can I solve? And you come up with something really simple. Like for me, it was how to find a YouTube transcript on both mobile and on desktop. So I made that video. It probably took me a full 1 hour from start to finish. Not to record, but I'm talking about the whole thing, including thumbnail, including titling, including description, including recording. I didn't even show myself on camera. I wrote a really simple script. I read it, and then I demoed it at the same time. So very simple, very basic, and it answers a very simple question that some new YouTubers might have. So what is some simple questions that newer folks within your niche or your interest might have? And maybe start there and keep it simple, maybe just a few minutes. And if you're up to it, do a talking head and show your conviction, show your passion, show your empathy for your viewer, and talk a little bit about your own life experience and what you've done to get through that same problem if it's relevant. So I think those are the two big unlocks for this style of question. One, it really simplifies how you think and how you approach the week with your content creation. It removes a lot of the burden around having to do all of this optimized research for a topic, how to, keyword and title it. It removes the burden of anticipating all of this editing hours you're going to have to put in. And it just lets you show up more chill and relaxed on camera, which ideally lets your real personality come out and lets your viewers connect with you in a more meaningful way. So that's my encouragement to you guys. If you haven't done a video like this before, or if you anticipate making videos like this, but you're worried about a lot of variables, you're worried about your lighting, you're worried about your ums and your ahs, you're worried about if you're going to be articulate enough, or if people are going to think you're attractive or too heavy, or whatever is on your mind, replace all of that with what your viewer needs, right? Putting your viewer first puts everything else on the back burner. It makes it completely meaningless. And when you can get out of your own way, when you can get out of your own head and really think of somebody else first, then the energy and the fire to be there for them, to show up for them, is what wants to come out on camera. And all you have to do is let it. So I hope this connected with somebody. I hope this was helpful in a way. If you guys want to have more of a conversation on this, if there's like things you want to dive in deeper, let me know. There's a link in my description for a free 15-minute chat if you want to chat with me. And I would love to connect more with you guys on this topic, because I know for new creators and even for existing creators, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to be more than we are in that moment. And I would encourage you to think that you don't need to be more than you are. You just need to be who you are right now, and just trust in the process and trust that you'll get better as you go. And so I'll leave you with this. With YouTube, it's going to sound very counterintuitive, and it's like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. On YouTube, you do not need to get better at talking to camera. You don't need to get better at editing your videos. You don't need to get better at scripting or doing research on topics or titles or thumbnails. You don't need to get better at any of that stuff. The only thing I maintain that you need to get better at is develop the skill of helping other people. Now, when you develop that skill of helping other people, all of the other things that are in the orbit, you will get better at. Meaning you'll get better at titling your videos. You will get better at coming up with topics. You will get better at communicating on camera. All of those things are a byproduct of getting better at helping other people. So focus your attention there. That's my recommendation, is focus your attention on trying to improve the lives of other people, trying to help them through a problem that maybe they're experiencing. You can do that in a variety of ways. You can provide education, tips, tricks, mindset ideas. You can help people with feeling like they're part of a community, including them, helping them to be seen and heard. You can help people in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be this solve a problem per se that I've been mentioning. But with every video that you make, you're doing something for somebody. You're providing relief for somebody. You're providing communion, a shared experience, a common interest, a tactical approach to get past something that's in their lives. So approach your videos with that front and center, and then just trust that all of the other ancillary skills that come with content creation, you develop those organically and naturally as you focus on helping other people. So I'll leave you with that. And if you have any thoughts, agreements, disagreements, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys on this topic. And thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.